everyone, this is B from Ashbea Music and welcome back to our channel. Today we will be talking about the pitch section in the UK 11 Plus Music Aptitude exam. I will explain how sound works, provide you with a few tips on how to hear and recognize steps in music, as well as how to practice and prepare for this part of the exam. In the pitch section, you will hear two notes or pitches played one after the other, and you will need to identify whether the second note stayed the same or whether it was higher or lower than the first one. Sometimes they may ask you whether the second note was up or down from the first note. This section will consist of 20 questions in the actual test. But first, let's talk about what pitch is. A pitch is simply how low or high a note sounds. When we hear a note, it creates a physical vibration, and this vibration moves a specific number of times per second. Lower pitches vibrate slower and higher pitches vibrate quicker. This is a scientific way of measuring sound. However, in music theory and notation, notes are assigned or given an alphabetical letter between A and G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The distance or step between any two notes is called an interval, and this is what the pitch section is all about, recognizing the distance between the first played note and the second note. The two most frequently talked about steps in Western music are whole tones and semitones, as they are the main building blocks of musical scales. The whole tone or whole step, together with the semitone or half step, are the two smallest intervals in the Western music tradition. A whole tone, often shortened to tone, is the distance from one note to the next, exactly two semitones apart, higher or lower. So two notes played a tone apart will sound something like this. The second note was a tone higher than the first. The second note was a tone lower than the first. The second note was a tone higher than the first. The second note was a tone lower than the first. The second note was a tone higher than the first note. Our whole tone contains two smaller steps, which we call semitones. A semitone is half a step from any alphabetical letter. Let's demonstrate by using the piano, as it helps to visualize these steps very well. For example, C to C sharp. A C and a C sharp are a semitone apart. G to F sharp are a semitone apart. D to D sharp are a semitone apart. I will now play a few examples of two notes being a semitone apart, so you get to practice it and try and work it out. Try and sing the notes in your head or out loud. Let your vocal cords confirm whether the second note went up or down from the first note. And how do you recognize it? Well, you should feel slight tension in your vocal cords when the notes are slightly higher, and when the second note went lower, you feel slight release or a drop in your vocal cords. Semitones can be quite challenging to recognize, and therefore I highly recommend singing out the notes and using your vocal cords to feel the distance. So, as mentioned, semitones can be quite challenging to work out. However, there is a smaller step than a semitone, and it's called a microtone. And it's a very tiny step. It often sounds as if someone sung the second note slightly off tune. It's a very subtle change, and it requires a lot of focus to hear it. I will use my pitch bender on my piano to demonstrate this small step, as all pianos and keyboards are tuned to semitones only, which are the smallest steps on the piano. Let's hear it. that the second note was a microtone higher than the first. And now you hear that the second note was a microtone lower. It almost sounds that the second note is off tune, out of pitch, and it's a lot harder to identify microtones when two notes are very low or very high. The second note was a microtone higher than the first. Large intervals, on the other hand, are much easier to identify, and most students are confident at recognizing these steps. Let me play a few examples where I play two notes that have a large gap, are wide apart from each other. You can hear how easy it is to hear whether the second note was going lower or higher compared to the first one. There are a few things to watch out for in the pitch section. For example, when two notes are being played very fast, one after the other, it can be rather confusing to hear in which direction the second note was going. You've got to sing the notes really quickly in your head and determine the movement. So don't be afraid to use your voice to sing out the notes, just to confirm in which direction the second note was moving. The next thing to watch out for is when the notes are played quite low in a register or in a higher register, and the changes are very small, for example a microtone, a semitone, or sometimes a tone as well. So let me demonstrate with a low register sound. Sometimes students get confused and you can hear that the second note was higher than the first. Now I'll play a couple of notes in a higher register. You've got to sing the notes really quickly to identify the second note. Let's recap. In this section, two notes will be played one after the other. The student must determine whether the notes were the same both times or if the second note was higher or lower than the first note. This section will consist of 20 questions. As we said in our texture tutorial, we recommend using a piano to practice for these tests. Check out the links in the description box for virtual piano apps and full-size electronic pianos that we recommend. You can even turn practice into a fun game if you get your parents or siblings involved. Don't forget to have fun. I hope you found this video helpful and that you are beginning to feel more confident in recognizing lower and higher sounds. Feel free to write to us or visit our website, and don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel to receive more videos in future. We think you would like this video next. Click here if you want to know more about the texture part of this exam. Thank you for watching and see you next time.